Hey, hey, hey. How you doing? I have a tendency to talk about more than one thing when I do a video. I do the weave. It's a thing. A lot of people do the weave, man. Don't know why it annoys so many people, but I'm going to try to stay on point here. Yesterday, I did a video, and I mentioned something in that video that a couple of the people commenting pointed out because they liked the idea, and that was my. And I've touched on this before. I'm going to talk about two different things that are tied together here, okay? This is a solution for the transgender issue when it comes to sports, mainly the female sports. And we're talking about kids here, right? I think it's Title IX is what it is, which was created to help girls participate in sports so that they can take advantage of the same things that boys have always had, right? Which is like scholarships, namely college. And we're in this situation these days where it's become this big deal. And to me, it's been a simple solution from the beginning. I don't hate anybody, all right? I choose to be my own person. I'm not going to participate in anybody else's delusion. That's you, but that's fine. I'm not going to judge it. I mean, I kind of do, right? I'm talking out of both sides of my head all the time here. I don't want to judge it. I want to not be confronted by it. I don't want people to keep telling me I have to accept other people's delusions. But at the same time, if that's what they want to do, have at it, man. Do it. Do it all you want. It's a problem now because we have people, human beings that were born as biological males with all the added benefits of being that: bone structure, muscle mass, all of it, testosterone. We know what it does. Right? You take a swim meet, girls meet, guy says it's going to be a girl now, still got a dick, right? So he's competing. And you look at it, and it looks like he's on double speed, 1.5 speed compared to the girls. And they're letting them win. That's a problem. So the way I see it as a solution, which is very simple in my mind, is you got the biological born male, now says he's a woman, fine, not going to argue the point, competing against women. What you do is you treat him separately. He's participating in the same race. You just take his scores and you create a database for transgenders. And his scores go into that database. The biological woman and all the other girls, their scores matter for placement and the national ranking system. Fastest time wins for the girls, and then that helps the girls preserve their ability to get scholarships and whatever else there is, because I'm not a big sports fan. I don't understand how all the sports work. I'm just saying the girls compete, their scores matter in the regular world of what we would typically accept as normalcy. That's how it works. The transgender scores go into a national database, so they're competing against themselves. Yes, we see them compete in the match with the biological females, and obviously they're going to win, but they don't win against the actual girls. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know how much easier I can make. Maybe I get a whiteboard and paint the girls as pink, and then, you know, the guys that are the girls in some other color, and show you the race and show you the 3 girls that score 1 through 3rd. And then the guy over here that scores first, his scores go over here to a separate thing. But these girls, their scores matter for the match. We can make them up like a special trophy. Like maybe they get a rainbow ribbon or something for winning that race at that particular time on that day against the girls to make them feel better. But their score doesn't matter. It's not held in a ranking system that helps them to get a scholarship until or unless colleges, if they want to do this, decide that we're going to take the national rankings of all the transgenders and then offer a some sort of scholarship for them, thinking that they're going to get enough transgenders on their college teams to make that a thing too. I don't know, but at least that way everything's simple, right? The girls aren't losing out anymore. I think this is common sense, right? Somebody, the new president here, Trump, somebody get this to him so he can just make this a thing? Now, I'm going to throw another thing at you in the same realm as this. I'm real big on the reincarnation thing, which doesn't mean I think everybody's been reincarnated. I don't know. I think if it's a subject that you're interested in, I haven't looked into it in a while, but when I was really, I've always been into it since I was a kid. I saw a movie called Beyond and Back when I was a kid. My mom took me to see it. Pretty cool. I believe the guy who produced that or was in it, made it, was from the University of Virginia. But regardless, there are at least, again, last time I looked into it, 4 universities where you can study it as a subject. And you should go on YouTube and type in reincarnation stories, children reincarnation stories, because it's pretty wild. What has been accepted and proven is that young people, up until about the age of 5, can still have a strong tie to their previous life. So you have young kids talking about things that they couldn't possibly have experienced yet, telling their parents, you're not my parents, whatever. Sometimes, and you can see this because they exist, I've watched a lot of it, it's fascinating. Sometimes the people they say that they wasn't that long ago. And so the people that were in their previous lives' family are still alive. Obviously, they're much older now. And sometimes they'll bring these kids together with these old people. And these little tiny kids know that person's name, what they do for a living, where they're born, everything. Know everything about the family, the whole deal. There's a great one about this kid that was a World War II pilot, shot down during the Battle of Iwo Jima, and his plane crashed into the water, and he drowned because he couldn't get the canopy open. And that kid, it's an amazing story. He knew the name of the boat, his buddies' names, everything. Told his dad. His dad looked it up. Holy crap! He could see the picture of the guy that his son was in the previous life. They find out that guy's sister was still alive, old lady. They have a phone conversation with her. They get them all together. She brings out all the photo albums. He's able to name everybody in the family. It's crazy. They eventually took him to the place where he died, off the coast of Iwo Jima, so they could throw a wreath in the water and say goodbye to that past life because he's living the life he's in now. Which gets me to the transgender thing. We have a problem here where, people have children. The people that are having the children, not all of them are the smartest, the brightest. People have all kinds of issues. And so you have this trendy thing where some parents are buying into this thing and they want to force their child to be the opposite sex. That's a whole other problem. That's a huge... I know a woman who did that to her kid. She happens to be a stripper. Big surprise. Both counts. I know a stripper, and she had a kid and raised him like he was transgender. And this poor kid, man, and I know the dad. And they haven't been married in a long time, but I just feel for this kid. It's crazy. And I know what he grew up around, with the craziness in the house and the sex and everything else. This poor... And here in LA, of course, right? So those people aside, because that's a whole other mental disorder where they're ruining their children's lives for the sake of being trendy or whatever, and those people are, the rest of my thoughts on that I'll keep to myself for now. I'll save that for when I'm standing here doing a friggin' bit for you on purpose, just to make you laugh and go, "What did he just say?" That's a whole other thing. But let's say you're not one of those crazy people, and you have a child, and your little child is 3 years old or something, and let's say it's little Johnny, born as a boy, has a penis. There's no other issues. He's not a hermaphrodite or anything like that. He's born a boy. And let's say little Johnny comes up and says, "Mommy, I want to wear a dress. I feel more like a girl." And this is a persistent thing. Well, here's an option. Here's an option for you. If you understand the idea of reincarnation, you can introduce this thought to your child. This concept. And you could say, "Well, Johnny, there's this thing called reincarnation." And the reality is, and by the way, this is a really great thing to teach kids. That if you could get the concept that we never truly die into your child's mind as early as possible, they're going to have a better life. They're going to truly live. Because people who are afraid to die never truly live. I think it's a pretty simple concept you should be able to understand, because some of you are in this boat. If you understand that, and this is just a concept, helps you with this, because here's the thing, if you believe already in the transgender thing and everything else, then that means you can believe anything, then you should be able to accept the idea of reincarnation, which will help with this idea here, because it'll even help the kooky people, right? You can say, Johnny, here's the thing. We have this thing. We never truly die. We don't know really have an exact grasp on what happens when we die, as people call it. We don't really die because you're really truly your soul. You're a pure light being. You're currently inhabiting this body, just like me, right? I look like your mother, but that's just a physical thing. It's like a shell that I'm in right now. And when I eventually pass on, I'm released from this body and I go off onto the next thing, which could be anything. I could be in a life form on another planet, in another solar system, another galaxy, another universe. I don't know. But we never really die. So here's the thing, Johnny. What's probably going on here is in your past life, you were a girl. That's a distinct possibility. And right now you're having these feelings and memories of that past life. That's great. That's okay. That's really interesting. And you can think about that and maybe have some memories of it. We could talk about it because that would be really cool, man. I'd like to know what you lived through before. But in this life, this current existence, you were born into a boy's body. So now you get to live as a boy this time. How cool is that? How really interesting is that? You can do all these things that you couldn't do as a woman, right? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's go with that. Now, if you could do that with your children, for one thing, you are turning a gear in their minds which gets them to think outside of the tactile world that they're living in right now, right? In your home, with your home life, and that direct family and everything else. Now they've got a concept in their brain that has just, it's expanded way beyond that. Now they're not just thinking about mom and dad and school and their friends. Now they're thinking, holy cow, there's lives on all over the place and we never die. And what does that mean? And the imagination kicks in and you got the imagination gear working now. And you just don't know how that's going to work in the synapses of their brain and all the new ideas they're going to have because you've introduced that concept to them at a young age. And then it's something that you can nurture through conversation as they age. They're going to be a more intelligent, hip, happier person because of this. Because they won't be afraid to die. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if I'm right about it. This is just a solution. It's a way to deal with it where you're not inhibiting their physical growth with puberty blockers and everything else, and then get them to the point in their life where they want to hack their boobs off and construct a penis, or hack off their penis and put in boobs. You know, it's the craziest thing. If you're a grown adult, you know, you're over 21, let's say, and you decide that's what you want to do with your life, go ahead and do it. I'm not going to judge you for it. I don't really care. It's none of my business, man. But the idea that you're going to try to force the rest of us to accept your whatever is crazy. Some of us can do it and have no problems with it. Some of us want to play into it and be like, yeah, rah, rah for that. That's fine too. Those people are great too. But you can't make it criminal for us or try to turn us into hate mongers or something if we're not buying into it. We're just, you know, that's crazy. You know, I'm allowed to have my own, I'm allowed to not accept something. I'm allowed to not like something. I'm allowed to just think something's weird. Just like you can listen to me and not agree with me and hate the video or put a bad comment down or unsubscribe. Whatever you want to do, man. Because we still have some freedom here, believe it or not. Now, fortunately, we're going to have some more. But I'm just saying, this is a way to possibly nip this in the bud a little bit and apply a different way of thinking to it and solve these problems. So again, just to reiterate, transgender sports, the females, the biological females still place. They get the first, second, third, all the way to fifth, whatever that ranking system is. The transgender guy is really competing against all the other transgenders. His scores go to a national database. They can compile that. They can have their own little newsletter, website, you know. Joe Smith from Kentucky, who competed in the all-girls 100-meter whatever, who won that in the transgender column at this course, at this number. Boom, he ranks. He won over all the other transgender in the other states. At this, they can have that whole thing going on. Meanwhile, that's there, and the people who are interested in that can pay attention to that. As far as the girls go, the actual girls who grew up playing sports, had brothers, did all that stuff, and that's what they wanted to do. And they've worked so hard as young kids to become better athletes to the point where in high school they can, get a scholarship to go to college, on that. They still have that to look forward to, because right now they can't look forward to that. There's a drop in female sports. There's been a huge problem with this. This solves the problem. So if you're with me, share this video with other people. Maybe we can make this a real thing, because to me this seems pretty clear. I don't think I'm hurting anybody. I'm obviously hurting somebody's feelings. That's just what I do, being who I am, what I look like, because everybody's so caught up in that these days. You can't, if somebody looks a certain way, you don't even want to listen to what they have to say. If that's the way your brain works, you're the one with the problem. I'm just saying. Okay, goodbye for now. Have a great day. Be kind to one another. I say be kind to one another, and then sometimes you guys hear me say stuff about other people. You might have heard me say something in this video that you think is derogatory or nitpicking or whatever. That's just what I do. To me, it's funny. I say that because I'm trying to be a better human being. I'm working on trying to be kind to people. When I interact with them, when I'm talking to my phone, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. You decide to come here and watch what I have to say. You watch it enough, you get a feeling for who I am, and you can make a determination whether or not you want to stay here and keep watching and listening. In real life, when I'm out and about with people, and I live in Los Angeles, I see these people all the time. I'm cool with them. I'm nice to them. I don't walk around wanting to beat people up or anything. I'm not wearing offensive T-shirts. But at the same time, you have to understand, when I was young, I engaged in a lot of bad things. I hurt a lot of people physically. Physically. That was the thing I did. And I don't like that person. And I've done a 180 to become a better human being. At the same time, I'm still capable of being that other guy, which comes in handy in this life from time to time when you got to deal with somebody or something, right? So I'm glad that I have that person in me still, but I'm still trying to be a nice person. And that's why I remind you guys to be, because I know that in my life, when I'm kind to other people, they feel good. It makes them feel good. And I want to uplift everybody. If I can uplift other people, make them feel good, well, you know what? Now I feel better too. And then it's interesting, our interactions with one another, because we want to help other people out. People are always apt to do a favor for somebody if they like them, or help them out, or make a phone call, or make a suggestion. Say, hey, this guy, yeah, he might be a little rough around the edges or something, but he's really good at this, that, and the other thing. He means well, but whatever you got to do. But you understand what I'm saying here. Being kind is the thing. Crapping all over other people all the time is insane, and it's not going to help you. You'll be supported by the other people who've been conditioned to think the same way that you do. But those numbers, those groups are smaller and smaller and smaller these days. We all want to come together and have peace. All right? We need world peace. We got to stop wars, all of it. And if you are in this mind space with this transgender thing, fine. Do whatever you want to do, man. But again, you have to still understand that the rest of us are living in more of a reality type based situation. We're the ones who have to deal with you. So the idea that you're trying to force us to have to accept certain things, and the idea that the government is getting involved with that, hate speech and all these other stupid things, hate crimes. Assault is a hate crime. Doesn't matter what the reason is. There's a lot of nonsense that's been going on now for the last several decades. It's building to a crescendo here, and I'm a problem solver. That's what I do for a living. All day, little decisions that I make when I'm building something or creating something, I got to problem solve. I have to do this step first. Oh, there's a mistake there. I got to do this. If I do this next time, it'll come out better. I'll get it done faster. It'll be a better result. My brain is constantly on problem solving. constantly. When you do that for a living, and you've been doing that for decades, I don't care what the situation is. I don't care what it's about. If I immerse myself in it and study it, I will find a solution for that. Like a more efficient way to do it, a better way to do it, whatever it is. We need less attorneys getting in government, and we need to replace them all with basically contractors, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, people that problem solve for a living. That's what needs to happen here. Academics. They never stop to look up the word academic. I'm going off, I'm weaving here, but like the second definition is along the lines of, unrealistic, in theory only. It used to be academic was a derogatory term in the film industry. Like back in the old days, watch the black and white films. It's all academic, which meant it didn't mean anything. It's just your concept, it's just your thought. That's it for now. Just gave you a bunch of things to think about here, but I really think that these little things here can solve a lot of problems. Expose your kids to the idea of reincarnation, expose them to the idea that we never truly die. Transgender sports, they get their own scoring system. The girls still score, and those rankings matter to them for scholarships, and then, of course, eventually, hopefully for them, if that's what they want to do, go from college sports into whatever, female professional sports that they might, soccer, basketball, whatever it is. Good for them. Does this make sense to you? Let me know in the comments. Have a great day. Be kind to one another. Because you're trying to be. Because you know it's the right thing to do. I'll catch you in the next one.